to you. So evaluate.
You're bribing him?
Okay, DTM Sarfraz, you are not new to table topic sessions, and I'll be just taking the honor asking our table topic evaluator to pick a topic for you.
First, I have to read.
You have to read?
I wanted to pick the difficult one.
Okay. So I have the topic for you. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Good one. Distinguished Toastmaster Sarfraz Nazir, your topic is share rides or cut down the fuel consumption of your vehicle. Share rides or cut down the fuel consumption of your vehicle. Over to you.
Hello, Toastmasters and distinguished guests, and especially you, Mr. Tabletopist Master. Just because you're asking me to participate in table topics does not mean that I'll be empathetic when it comes to my evaluation for your speech.
Oh.
Share a ride or cut down on travel. No, I like my aloneness. I remember the very first time when I had to travel more than 300 miles from Dallas-Fort Worth down south to Galveston for the semifinals of the World Championship. There were some other individuals from District 25 and District 50 who were going, but I did not ask anyone who else is going. I did not ask someone else, can I ride with them? Because I wanted to be myself so I could think about my speech and visualize what it'll be giving that speech. Even though I am somewhat a social animal, I also prefer my own individuality. And so the sharing is not an option. Now, do I cut down consumption? No. If there are places I have to go, then obviously it's not going to be a matter of, hey, should I walk or not? Of course, if I have to cut down, I'll walk. But how about first cutting down the coffee at Starbucks? If I have to, before I cut down driving, that's an option. Then instead of having a brunch at Barbecue Tonight or Lal Killa, I was just going to, McDonald's and having the cheapest burger that's available. That's an option. So when it comes to cutting gas, no. Riding with someone else, no, unless company is good like Rabia Zishan or Talha bin Hamad or Imran. Back to you, Mr. Tabletopist Master.
At least you could have added my name to the topic. Companion. Anyhow, thank you, Distinguished Toastmaster Sarfraz Nazir. I loved the way you stood against the topic and showed your opinion about how you feel, how the individuality helps an individual person to grow and deliver the best speech of his life. But I feel that the best thing about your speech was, though you gave an example of 300 kilometers far in USA, but the restaurants all were named in Pakistan. Message well delivered that you have to cut down on whatever the expenses you have, but you have to not to compromise on the way you choose to live. Thank you very much. And back to Tabletop Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yes, what valuable lessons we are learning today. Toastmaster Sheroz spoke about patience. There's also one more way to learn patience, and that is to become a member of Karachi Toastmasters Club. We are finally moving towards our last project of the day, and that will be myself. The project is Reflect on Your Path. The evaluator will be Toastmaster Hina Ali. The title is Your Journey Has Arrived. So everyone, please put your hands together for myself. Your journey has arrived. Let me just test it out. Yeah. So can everyone? All right. Yes.
We can see your presentation, DTM
Yes.
Data, and you are visible and audible.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for answering those questions, which I was about to ask and taking away the time buying tactics. So
Time duration 10 to.
time is 10 to 12.
Oops.
What happened?
Uh,
All right. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, let me take you to two journeys. The first journey is through my pathway innovative planning, and it will be interspersed with a very memorable journey that I've had countless times and I yearn to have today. The train ride from Karachi to my hometown, Quetta. Whenever you start a ride, you have to buy a ticket. Similarly, when you start a path, you have to buy it. Surprise, new members. And I bought innovative planning in October 2022 and started on the icebreaker. Of course, when you buy a ticket, you buy from city station, but the first station that the train travels to is the Kent station. And at Kent station, I broke the ice. And after that, writing a speech with purpose. And this particular speech was all about how we have hurt the ones we love throughout our lives, especially our children. Have we ever thought about how we have mistreated them? So instead of complaining that our kids do not look up to us or they do not value us, we first should look at our past, how we valued them. The train moves to another station and still within Karachi and then within Sindh. Wait a minute, I believe it skipped a couple of slides. All right. So we were at Drigg Road and now we have moved to the Kotri Junction. Vocal variety and body language. At a station, you see such vocal variety and body language from the peddlers selling everything from hot meals to eggs.
Hello, Katya.
So,
और बंदे तो
Kotri Junction,
अच्छा
at Kotri
ठीक है
Junction,
ठीक है नन्ना ये पूछा पे
we spoke about a visitor from Peshawar and how every place in Karachi is somehow related to death. Our most famous landmark is a mausoleum. And everywhere you move, there's a scene of some massacre or another. And thanks to 12th of May, the whole city bathed in blood. Even our most famous biryani is found at the mausoleum of Abdullah Shah Qazi. Next, the train moves to Sevan Sharif. And in reverence of Sevan Sharif, this project was delivered in Urdu. Evaluation and feedback 1. About an old friend. You know how when you are younger, when I was starting my foundation course, I met this person. We both grew up, but he saw me as the same person. And that irritated me quite a bit. But today I realize that it is precious that some people see you for what you are. From Sevan Sharif, the train moves to Dadu and understanding your leadership style. And this time I abandoned all the conventional leadership styles and instead I chose to speak about how humanity is important to leadership. because humanity is what defines a good person and a good leader. History is filled with leaders who were killers, who were murderers, who did everything to achieve what they wanted. And there are people who worship them. But does the world remember them fondly? Not for long. After that, it was time to fly to San Francisco, only in my imagination and only through Zoom, because in reality, the train was moving to Larkana Junction. And there at Leaders Worldwide Toastmasters Club, I presented Connect with Your Audience, something unfamiliar. You know how our airports are where life takes place, where marriages form and break, where life-changing transactions occur. How routine is air flight in the USA? So that formed a very good contrast, because whenever the door opens and there's a parade of people, we are looking at them, we're trying to guess, okay, what's this person about? How rich they are? Where are they coming from? Oh, such cheap clothes. So we went through that journey at Karachi Airport while in San Francisco. And then we move on to Jacobabad. We have entered a very hot area. And of course, my speech about introduction to mentoring grew correspondingly hot. It was about me and 8 billion jerks on this planet, and people who taught me what not to do. And trust me, it was one of the most fun speeches I've ever done, because who doesn't enjoy criticizing? Now the train moves up. Paradoxically, it gains height, and yet the temperatures rise as well. And we arrive at this station, the Sidby station. And it was time to present a proposal. Imagine if all these people had access to clean washrooms. And imagine if they could use an app to identify whether a washroom was available or not. And that was my whole proposal about my office, my previous office, although it's much needed in this office too. While sitting at your seat, if you could check out whether the washroom is vacant or not, won't life be solved? Moving on, we now move to Abegum, researching and presenting. And this place is called Abegum because there used to be a rivulet here which got lost. And similarly, I told everyone that if everyone switched to the environmentally friendly solutions that we advertise, we will lose everything. If we switch to environmentally sustainable grocery bags, where will we find the space to grow all that cotton? Has anyone thought about that? If we all switch to meatless meat, where will we grow all those plants? The train travels up and up and up through several tunnels until it arrives at Much. And Much is very famous for its jail. And this was a perfect occasion to deliver the managed project successfully. And it was nothing but a blatant advertisement for Worldwide Toastmasters Club. It's an advanced club for people who love literature, who like to learn creative writing. Dual memberships are open. And now, a very special place, the highest point in the journey. And it was a question and answer session about, guess what? Worldwide Toastmasters Club. And at Kolpur, what happens is that the train climbs up a hill and then another engine has to be attached to it to take it the rest of the way. And it travels in reverse. the grade is so steep. And since the train stops for quite a while, I also stopped quite a while for this, until I had obtained at least 2 commitments to join Worldwide Toastmasters Club. Too bad they didn't come through. And similarly, I kept at Kolpur for high performance leadership because it was the foundation of this club, part 1 and part 2. Starting from scratch, starting from social media advertising, we had moved to Kolpur, a height of 15,000 feet and a number of 15 subscribed members. Only 5 remaining, limited seats, everyone. You have the idea. And finally, we arrive at our destination, Quetta. And this is a very wintry version of Quetta. It snows very rarely in Quetta, but when it does, Quetta station looks like this. And correspondingly, the toughest project of the entire path. Prepare to speak professionally, 18 to 22 minutes. And honestly speaking, I had run out of ideas until something clicked. I thought that I was working on some club management tools, which sought to quantify the performance of a club. And I thought, and I realized that I had faced some paradoxes while working those out. For example, if a club has 20 members and every member wants to speak, and the club is meeting weekly, and there are 4 speech slots, how many times will the members speak in 3 months? Only twice. So Toastmasters clubs are founded on the fact that most members do not want to make speeches. And that is something we discourage at Karachi Toastmasters Club. And hence, this was our 10th speech of the day. And in fact, I'm feeling slightly depressed because we were supposed to have 11. Somehow, Elvin has logged off, and it pains me greatly because his would have been the 11th speech. But one cannot control fate. So what did I learn during this journey? Just like a journey from Karachi to Quetta via Sindh and Balochistan, when you're going through a path, the only way is up and up and up. There are rivers, there are hurdles, but as long as the train is willing, it will reach its destination. Over to you, Toastmasters. All right. So that brings to an end our prepared speeches session and table topic session. So
We have one.
I think we better. Sorry. All right. All right. Asif Sattar is, yes, he's online. Okay, you can come. We have one more table topic left. And in the meantime, everyone, please vote for best prepared speaker. And I can't for the life of me figure out how to turn off the steering. I've forgotten. Yeah. All right. Thank you. All right. Thank you for your patience. So while we have our last table topic, please vote for the best prepared speaker.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Talab Ahmed, our active Toastmaster of Karachi, District 122 of this meeting and whatnot. Is he a Toastmaster?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
Toastmaster Atif Sattar, can you please switch on your camera if possible and unmute yourself?
Yes, sure.
Yes, there he is. Great.
So by now you know what the table topics are familiarity with. It's with the theme of the meeting, which is how to overcome our monster, that is the inflation. I have volunteered myself to pick up a topic for you, though I'll just show you. There were two more, and I have picked one. So, Toastmaster Atif Sattar, your topic is limit your wants. Limit your wants, Toastmaster Atif Sattar.
Can you please repeat limit for?
Limit your wants. Wants.
Limit
Limit
your
your
wants.
wants. It's
limit
also in the
your
chat
wants.
box. Yeah.
If we talk about regarding the inflations, limit your wants, it totally depends on your expenditures, like what is your earning and what you are make a plan how to expenditure and on the which limits. Part how to you maintain your daily lifestyles and how to maintain your monthly lifestyle and how to go your life with your expenditure with your limits. I think that is the main part this is the answer for your questions.
So you can speak for 30 seconds more. You have
Yeah,
the
30
time.
second more. Oh, yeah, sure. Sorry. Actually, I have a flu issue. That is why. Sorry. Some of the we can see there's in the entire life, some of the people is they have the expenditure as more than from the earning. That is why they are facing some of the limitation issues. They are borrowing the monies from the others. So basically, I think we should keep the expenditure within your limits. But then we can easily to go with the to fight with the inflation ratios. Right now we are facing in the currently is worldwide. So my opinion that we have to shoot your expenditure within your earning. So then you can easily go with your limit.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Toastmaster Atif Sattar. Well spoken about limit your expenses, watch your expenses, and make sure that you come to this monster face to face, neck to neck. And most important is how to limit your wants. What I understand in your speech was very powerful message, not to look for more options of how to spend, but more options how to save it. Thank you very much. And this ends our table topic session. And you all are requested to stay tuned because we will have a table topic evaluation for all your speeches. Over to you, Professor.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for a wonderfully conducted table topic session. Really brought the theme together. And now we are moving on straight to our journal evaluation session. And our journal evaluation for today is Toastmaster Rabia Zishan. But before that, let me remind everyone to vote for the best table topic speaker. Poll is being floated right now.
Thank you so much, impromptu Toastmaster of the day, DTM Talha. Journal evaluation, the part which I like the most in a Toastmasters meeting, because this is where we learn the most. Review is essential to evaluation, which is essential to progress. One thing which I would like to ask the VPE and assistant to VPE, do I follow the agenda in calling the evaluators, or do I call them in the order that the speeches were given?
That's a very valid question. I think you can call them in the given order now that all the evaluators are here.
Okay, so I'll follow the agenda then.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So the first speaker according to the agenda was Toastmaster Faizan Zafar, and his evaluator is Toastmaster Imran Rana. And let me tell the speech title. It was the project of vocal variety in body language. I do not know the pathway, and learning from others. So Toastmaster Imran Rana, what did we learn from his speech?
Thank you so much, General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Today, Toastmaster Faizan delivered a speech about learning from others. You started with the self-deprecated joke, which usually happens mostly with me, that day one, I was quite enthusiastic and energetic about delivering a project, and on Wednesday, I usually dropped out. So that was quite interesting and quite humorous. To explain your speech, you brought 4 personal stories. The stories about your cousin. Then the second story was about it was quite scrumptious story that it was about food, and we good to know that you know how to cook Chinese food, and we are waiting for our invitation. And the third and the fourth speech was about your colleague and about your studies. Your conclusion was, I won't say that it was quite inspiring, but it was 2-line conclusion. The speech objectives were about introduction to vocal variety or the body language, and you told us to evaluate on that. I would like to say a little about your content, that instead of bringing 4 or 5 personal stories, you could have brought only 3 personal stories. You started with an attractive opening, and although the body part was quite related with your content, the way you wanted to deliver that, how you learned from others, it expressed quite well. So just limit your personal stories with 2 or 3. The speech was the objective was about your vocal variety and body language. If we talk about your vocal variety throughout your speech, your tone was monotonous. So there was no change in vocal variety. Although you could have brought it when there was a dialogue between you and your friend, or you and with your colleague, you could have brought your vocal variety by changing the variation. Throughout your speech, you were standing on this position, and very few times you were using your left hand. Since you were holding the paper with your right hand, maybe you could have put the paper aside, and maybe you could use both of your hands. About the stage utilization, since you were standing straight, it was straight, composed, and calm. Throughout your speech, you were quite confident because you delivered the speech without any hesitation. You were confident, but throughout the speech, you were standing straight. You could have used the stage by when you were changing the story, you would have come towards the right. When you were moving towards the second story, then you could have moved towards this position, and the conclusion part would have come in the center and deliver the conclusion. So so what I would suggest to sum up my overall evaluation, that reduce your personal stories with 2. Do share your speech with your with your mentor, so that he can give you some good ideas. Plus, bring some vocal variety and stage utilization according to the flow of your speech. With that, I would like to hand over the charge back to the general public.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Imran Rana. Now I would like to invite evaluator Toastmaster Fahim Razak to evaluate one of the many icebreaker speeches that we had today, given by Muhammad Salman Ijaz, Journey of Life. How was the journey?
Okay, Toastmaster Rabia, sorry, before we move on, you asked for it, you got it. There's a change. So after Fahim, if you can request Toastmaster Latif, because actually sir also has to leave. So you spend the whole toss karne aap dono ya to.
Toss kar le and let me know in the chats which one to call next.
All right. So,
okay. So Toastmaster Fahim Razak, how was Muhammad Salman Ijaz's journey of life?
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and especially you, Toastmaster Salman. You know, as an icebreaker, half of the journey, or as a new member, half of the battle is won when you come here and you start to speak. Okay? Because it takes a lot of courage. And the next half of the battle is won when you complete the purpose of your speech. So ladies and gentlemen, didn't we get to know Toastmaster Salman in his icebreaker speech.
Yes.
What a way to start your first speech. He had everything in the speech that you could ask for. Humor, clarity in the voice, a strong conclusion, and equally a strong start. Start in the sense, right from the childhood, how he was dictated by the people in his family what to do. Then as he moved into the school, how he was dictated by his teachers and professors and colleagues and to other pupils. And when he came to his professional career, how he was dictated by colleagues and his bosses and what people were following the trend. And whilst he was giving us this journey, he had some really catching key phrases that captivated us all. For example, everything happens after certain experiences. Someone else driving your car. Life takes you where you meant to. What a way. Now, when you hear a speech like this, it is very challenging to come up with some improvement areas or some development. And I wouldn't even call them improvement, but I want to just call them challenges. So just 2 challenges for TM Salman. One thing is have meaningful pauses in your next speech, which is going to be writing a speech with purpose. What it will allow you is if there is a humor, it will allow the audience to react. For example, you had the humor. I thought life will be colorful after I completed my CA exams. And we started laughing because most of us are CS. We know what happens after life is not as rosy. But allow the audience to react to it and take it in. It also allows you to relax, gives you movement. Secondly, only give relevant info, because when you're going to pause meaningful pauses, it means you're going to need to have some time. And you will, by the time when you give the relevant information to the audience, don't give unrelevant information. For example, you mentioned ACCA F2 paper. Nobody needs to know it's F2, just the accounting paper. That is it. Just 2 challenges. And I really, really do look forward to Toastmaster Salman's speeches. And with that, over to you.
Okay. Are we calling the
Latif.
Okay. Toastmaster Latif. Yeah.
Okay. So next we are calling Toastmaster Latif, evaluator, who will be evaluating Toastmaster Kadir Ansari's icebreaker, man who is much loved and much hated.
Okay.
Thank you, General Evaluator, Toastmaster Rabia Zishan. Today, my speaker, Toastmaster Kadir Ansari, has made his first step in Toastmaster by delivering an icebreaker speech. First of all, I would love that the way he delivered his icebreaker, the segment where he says, the title what he chose, man who is much loved and much hated. Toastmaster Kadir and fellow Toastmasters, I was thinking how an icebreaker be so powerful messaged. And I loved the way when it landed. It immediately asked me to check what is the meaning of Kadir. And I found it is powerful. As that speech says, that he has continuously overcome with proven results of all the haters what has come to him. Deaf ears for haters. And this is the apt of the speech, which I love the moment and always will remember it for a life. Good takeaway message from the word go itself. Now, I run my sources and I found out that your icebreaker could be more interesting and challenging had you put that 2 days younger than Bangladesh, the love of photography which you were trying to instill in yourself, a travel photographer, and more of the customs, some of those experiences. Though these all were so wonderful that it made me give you this remarks that your clarity, the audience awareness, the topic selection, plus the eye contact with the unfamiliar audience were to the mark. Though it is a challenge when you notice other speakers delivering a higher energy one, but this is your first speech, which will come more with all these inclusion. Now, I will give you one good challenge. That is the vocal variety. Because your speech has it. Man who is much loved and much hated. You can increase it in your speech. And the way when you said, those people were saying, and I proved to be Kadir, the powerful, the proven. And there are many things which you can more. Lastly, but to conclude, a well-constructed speech, just a few vocal varieties where we can bring and wake up the audience will make you a perfect speaker. Good luck for your future projects.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Imran Rana.
Very
Next, I
good.
would like to call Toastmaster Irfan Faruqi, and he will be evaluating the speech of Toastmaster Mir Shehroz, understanding body language and vocal variety. Hardships makes you stronger. Toastmaster Irfan, did Mir Shehroz hardships make him stronger?
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Mir Shehroz. You delivered a speech today on a topic which was relevant with our today's issues, how life is becoming hard for us. And if I see your speech, I would say that relevancy of the topic was very interesting for everybody, because your topic and the content of your speech, they were so strong that it was very easy for everybody to feel associated with you. Whatever you are saying, we were with you. Your clarity on the topic, your clarity on speaking and content and your voice, that was an excellent thing. You also used vocal variety while communicating. At some places, for instance, you emphasized on words. Everyone, you emphasized it. So at many places, there was a good emphasis of words. So talking on vocal variety, I would say that your vocal variety was very good. But since the topic, since the project is body language and vocal variety, so I would say on the part of the body language, your speech needs a lot more work to do. For instance, when you started, you were standing like here, your hands were most of the time, your hands were here, and you did not move from one space. Although till reaching to the end of your speech, you started making better hand gestures. But again, whole your body movement was not aligned with the requirement of the project. You could have moved from one place to the other. You could have used the stage. You could have bent yourself. You could have taken back yourself. There were a lot of opportunities from your body to align with the topic. So from that point, I would say you need to work more on your body language. You were looking at the camera, so your eye contact, definitely virtual eye contact, it was very good. So you made some intentional movements, but since your movements were very limited, I won't say there were some unintentional movements. So most of the body movement was intentional movement. Coming to the topic, how you presented it, how you associated with everybody. If it was not a body language, vocal variety in body language speech, it would have been an excellent speech. But with the reference of the topic, a slight improvement in your body is needed. I hope future is yours.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Irfan Faruqi. And next on the agenda, we have the speech given by Toastmaster Latif Mansoor Ali, which will be evaluated by GTM Sarfaraz. When done right, a performance review is one of the best opportunities to encourage and support high performance and constructively improve. Let's see what a good evaluation is like. GTM Sarfaraz, was Toastmaster Latif Mansoor Ali's speech, did it inspire us to have big hearts rather than having big, heavy pockets?
Toastmaster Rabia Zishan, you may have heard on cable news during the depositions in a courtroom, many American politicians take the fifth, in simply meaning that they do not want to answer that question. So is it okay if I take the fifth? Okay. Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and distinguished guests. It is my honor to evaluate the speech given by Toastmaster Latif Mansoor Ali. I like the fact that Toastmaster Latif sent me the evaluation form before I could tell him that I already have a copy of the evaluation form. Many speakers fail to do that. Not only he sent me the evaluation form, he also asked me what to look for in a speech. And that's great. That makes the evaluator's job a little bit easier. Toastmaster Latif, let me give you 3 things that I liked about your speech, and then I will give you some suggestions for improvement. I liked your vocal variety. You were audible, loud, and clear. I had no issue hearing you or your message. I also liked your gestures, especially the hand gestures, hand movement. At one time when you were mentioning District 122, you raised your hands. When you were talking about loaded pockets, you put your hands in your pockets. That was great. I also noticed that you were moving from left to right. I also like the fact that you opened your speech with a story, and then you went on to give us some more stories. You mentioned names like Karim Meghani, Imran Rana, Fahim Razak. That was great. And the third thing I liked about your speech, when a Toastmaster in KTC gives a speech about mentoring, you can never go wrong if you mention distinguished Toastmaster Talha bin Hamid, because you'll get some laughter. And we all knew sooner or later, before you sit down, you are going to mention that name, because he is not only a mentor, he is the mentor of mentors. So I like that you mentioned a few names, but you ended by telling us who really has helped you. Now, my job would not be done if I don't tell you how to improve. I was hoping that I could be empathetic, but it may not be possible. I am sorry. Smile. You should have opened with a smile before you uttered your first word, because that would have allowed you to use humor. When you put your hands in your pockets, you're talking about loaded pockets. You should have said heavy pockets. What if you had money? 100 rupees, 500 rupees, 1,000, and a few 5,000. And you placed your hands in the pockets. And when you mentioned, oh, my pockets or their pockets are loaded, and you slowly dropped those bills onto the floor. That would have been great. I liked your speech because of your audibility, your vocal variety, your gestures, your mentioning of some Toastmasters, especially Toastmaster Talha bin Hamid. If you can add some humor, it'll be a great speech. And I look forward to your next speech. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, DTM Sarfaraz, for that wonderful, wonderful evaluation. Next, GTM Talha bin Hamid will be evaluating the speech given by Toastmaster Irfan Farooqi from Motivational Strategies Level 2, Project 2, Understanding Your Communication Style. Jack of all trades.
All right.
Thank you so much. Can you thank?
Yes, just
Or don't if you don't.
I will not time when I
You know what DTM stands for? Don't time me.
Do teach me.
All right. Toastmaster Irfan Faruqi. There is an undefinable ease to your speaking style that is really infectious. It gets all of us right into your speech, and you have that asset. You do that within the first few seconds. So you eased us into the topic. And the second thing that I loved about your speech is that you never stray from your project objectives. You resist the tendency to go off on tangents, and you stay. Even if we sometimes feel that perhaps you're not as focused on the topic as you should be, sooner or later we see you coming back, and then it all makes sense. You used humor very well. You even incorporated some of the other speeches and some of the other things that were said. And I loved how you roasted Toastmaster Alvin Faraz. He's not here. So it is a great skill to do that spontaneously, especially while you are preparing to deliver a speech that is on a specific description about understanding your communication style. And trust me, I cannot take that chance. If I'm to deliver something like mentoring or communication style, I'm so conscious of forgetting that I cannot take that chance. And you have the confidence. You had a very direct connection with the audience, not only, I'm sure, not only with the audience here, but with the audience online. And you gave some very good example of distortion. It was funny, and yet at the same time, it was so relatable and so relevant. Pains as it does for me to say, because it does indicate that we all are getting over it. And all of your speech was peppered with exceptional examples of your communication style. So I must say that you achieved your project objectives spectacularly. Some improvement areas, the very ease that I actually love most of the time, sometimes becomes your Achilles heel, because it then becomes too casual, and the speech-like stance that we are expecting sometimes becomes too lax. But only sometimes. Sometimes when you need to be more expressive, you need to be more instructive to the audience. When you're telling something to the audience, maybe you should change your stance a little bit to be more authoritative. Secondly, some more vocal variety would have been welcome. I am by no means advocating that you should drag unneeded vocal variety into everything that you do. I'm not from that school of thought, but a little more ups and downs would have been welcome. Those are the two improvement areas. Otherwise, you delivered a spectacular speech. You told us all about the communication styles. You illustrated them perfectly, and you stuck to the project objectives very well. Only a little more vocal variety and a little more formal stance would have been even more well. Over to you, General.
Thank you so much, DTM Talha. I hope the next evaluator is empathetic while giving his evaluation, because it is none other than Toastmaster Asghar Ramzan, who will be evaluating my own speech titled Picnic, Evaluation and Feedback Speech 1.
So she'll be repeating the same speech.
Yes, count on that next week.
I think I'm not visible due to some
wait a minute.
reason.
Wait a minute. Yes, you are not visible. Your video is somehow not visible.
Okay.
But it's
So,
not. But you're audible, so.
Yes. Can I switch on from my mobile, or is it okay for me to do it?
I think you can go ahead.
Let's check the camera.
Yeah.
Huh? Okay. So
Internet connection.
I think there's a problem with the connection. That's when this happens. So you can go ahead, Toastmasters.
He's not audible.
okay, as long as my voice is clear, I would like
Yes.
to go ahead.
It's
Okay,
clear, it's
so here is
perfectly
me.
clear.
Here is me.
Yes.
Rabia Zishan, as we all know. Huh? Okay. Rabia Zishan, as we all know that you are an integral part of KTC Club. There is no KTC without Toastmaster Rabia. Today, Toastmaster Rabia narrated a picnic event with her comrade from different clubs because I was not aware about some of the, people who are in the picture. To begin with, from the commendation part, first obviously come your confidence. I remember your first speech in the club. It was a table topic session when you were very much hesitated and defensive. Today, I found myself defensive while listening to you. And that is your confidence part. Today, second, the story that you had two important elements. It was all relatable. It was about us. Unfortunately, I was not there. I'm sure you must have invited me, but somehow you did it through DTM. Somehow you do it from lovely Talabai, and he did not bother to inform me. The third point is about your gesture, especially your hand gesture, when you said that I deliberated the idea in my mind and you use your hands. And similarly, when you said that you invited other club while, using words other club, you use your hand very well, very purposefully. Third is your takeaway experience and joy being in the family, which left behind us the good memories to cherish. I'm sure it is true for all of you except me because of the presence of my mother-in-law and my family gathering. Now the common recommendation side, I think I would request to do such excellent speech in a standing position. Your stagecraft is something left much to be desired. I think when you stand and when you speak, it is more effective. That the your position will make your speech more effective when you are standing and conveying your ideas. Secondly, some of your informal gestures, I think, or in the middle of the speech or your remarks, rub the environment of formality required you in front of audience. For example, when you abruptly said, "I'm bad at PowerPoint," how to stop sharing these slides. When you are in a formal speech, these are the things need to be avoided. Otherwise, it was a relatable story with a strong takeaway. Just some stage crafting will do even it a better one. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Razan. And you are very right. I do struggle in being very formal while giving a speech. So let's try to work on that. Thank you. Next on the agenda was Toastmaster Alvin Faraz, but he wasn't able to join. And then we had Toastmaster Asghar's speech, Curious Case of a Patient, and it will be evaluated by Toastmaster Anam Kadri.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Rabia. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, and our dear victim to the biases of in medical history, Toastmaster Asghar Ramzan. A splendid speech given in a very confident and enthralling manner. In fact, it was very overpowering, enriched with a lot of twists in the story as well as in the message. It was hard to decipher in the beginning whether the story was actually about the patient himself and how it led to actually the biases that he had to face in the hands of the different doctors and the medical history that he had to go through. A very nice way of putting up this idea, something that people rarely speak about and something that needs to be highlighted. Yes, it's very true. And it was placed in a very nice manner in the form of a speech, and that too in the form of a story. Initially, I thought that you were a little confused with for me, it seemed to be a little confused how to decipher the message since I was looking at your hand gestures. And your hand gestures were mostly like this, clasped once in a while now, here and then you were using your fingers until by the middle of this speech when you actually started giving gestures through your fingers and through your hands. And then I actually got the idea that what you are trying to say and how you are moving from your story from one message to another. So I think this is something that you need to work on, the hand gestures. They should be meaningful in the beginning also. When you started off with the speech, it should be meaningful enough so that the viewer get the idea what the speaker is trying to say, how confident he is, and how he's trying to put up with the ideas. Overall, it was a really nice speech. The message was there. The the enthralling part was there. It was pretty captivating, with the enriched with these views, with the ideas, with the vocabulary, and how you put it forward in front of us with an enriching message in the end. Thank you so much for such a nice speech. A little work on your hand gestures and you would ace in the next speech. Thank you so much. Over to you, Toastmaster, today.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Anurag. So next we have DTM Raju, who will be evaluating the third and last icebreaker of today's meeting by Noful Sajjad, Toastmaster Noful Sajjad, slap of failure. DTM Raju.
Thank you very much, General Evaluator, Madam Rabia Jishan. Failures, rather slap of failures. What a great title, Nofal. Nofal, the future humorous speech winner of Karachi Toastmasters Club. That's what I can foresee. Everybody think or cries about failures, and you were the one mocking your own failure. And I still remember the failures I went through, and especially I could connect with the entrance test that you took at school and where you scored less, but your father got you in the school. And I had a similar experience when I was getting into one of the schools in Punjab. I really loved the way that you use humor across your speech. The humor is a strength, and I'm sure if you would choose the engaging humor as your path, you would certainly make great speeches. You have used sequential technique in your speeches, and you went in a sequential manner from your childhood till the time that you was with your HR, and HR asked you about why we are giving money to a doctor where she forgot to check it to the debit and credit. You connected with audience. Audience was completely engaged with your speech throughout. They were smiling, they were laughing at your jokes, they were connected with, especially finance. Karachi Toastmasters is nothing but financial professionals, indirectly or directly. And now, of course, whatever is left is English professors. The way that they use the dictionary, English language from Oxford dictionaries, that makes me feel low. And also, I was still down after hearing Toastmaster Asghar and DTM Sarfaraz with the vocabulary that they are using. But I did enough to do that. Such a great speech, but there are some improvement areas because you just started your journey and there's something that you can work upon to make your speech to next level. First thing, your rate of speech. As soon as you started, I thought it was a Rajdhani Express because you were just going through those details. You could go slow. I wanted to hear where was Nofal born and how did things go in his childhood. You went directly to your childhood where you were in school, but that would have made much, rather I would have connected much better with your the things that were going in sequential. Eye contact. You were frequently looking down or looking upward. What you can do is just maintain the contact. You're in such a beautiful hall where you were provided with snacks and there were so many handsome boys there. Make an eye contact with them. And hand gestures. You were making some hand gestures, but they were not comfortable. So just move that. It is just like moving with the music, moving with the speech that you're giving. Try to use a hand gesture, eye contact that you maintain while you're moving through the stage. You can be comfortable and you can try to make it better. One thing that I would say that your conclusion was, I felt that your conclusion was abrupt. You just conclude as soon as you went with the HR thing and then just close it down. And then I also felt that that joke with HR was not relevant to your speech. Maybe you can add something that was relevant to your speech. Overall, a great speech. You have humor as your strength. You can build upon it. What you can do is build rate of speech, make it better and make a better eye contact and use your hand gestures comfortably. Wish you all the best, the humor king of KTC.
Thank you so much, DTM Raju. That was a wonderfully encouraging evaluation for icebreaker. Next, Toastmaster Hina Ali will be taking us to the journey of DTM Talha bin Hamid's speech project, Reflect on Your Pathway, Innovative Planning. Your journey has arrived.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and General Evaluator, Toastmaster Talha bin Hamid in particular. Thank you for taking us through this extraordinary journey of going through your path and also exploring the train route between Karachi to Quetta. From the beginning, when I looked at your title, and the usual expression is your destination has arrived, and you said your journey has arrived, I felt curious and engaged to hear what you had to say. And then you started up a presentation, showed us the map which had the route from Karachi up to Quetta. And you used beautiful language to tell us that you're going to link this journey with your journey through the path. So you use the word intersperse, which is when you pepper or add information in between another theme that you're speaking. So you intertwined two things together, and that was really nicely done. What I loved was, for anybody who doesn't know about this path, now we know what all to expect in terms of the various speeches that we need to do in this project. Really nicely done. Okay. And you had a little bit of a summary about each of the speeches that you gave. And along with that, you showed us all these beautiful and interesting places along the way from Karachi all the way to Quetta. And beautifully also linked the ups and downs and interesting parts about those places with the challenges that you faced in those speeches. So that was really nicely done. Now, having said that, and you are a speaker extraordinaire, I just have two key things that I believe you could work on to improve generally what you were doing today, and that was giving a speech with a visual aid, right? And the second one is about this speech in particular. For the first one, you had such a beautiful story and speech that you went through, and you wanted us to see these images. Now, every time you lean forward to try to change the slide, and at the second slide, there was slight fumbling. It distracted us from such a wonderful speech that you were giving. And it sort of continued. So there was a disconnect between when we're looking at the audience and then looking down. And so my suggestion or recommendation to you would be, if possible, to use a remote pointer to change the slides. And if not, just try to maybe request someone else with some sort of hand signal to change the slide while you're speaking so your speech stays smooth. So that's general presentation. Specific to the speech, I would have really liked to hear what you got out of this specific project pathway of innovative planning. That's about it. Because we heard a lot about all your speeches and a beautiful end message, which was the only way up in a path. The only way is up in a path as long as the engine is willing. And that was a really nice metaphor to tell each of us Toastmasters, as long as we're willing to put in the hard work, the sky's the limit. So that was great. But just work on that, how to manage your presentation or visual aid while you're speaking. And of course, definitely you are a seasoned Toastmaster. So a little bit more deeper reflection on the actual path would have given us a little bit more of why it's good to do. And with that, I hand over back to the general evaluator. Thank you. By the way, congratulations, DTM Talha, on completing yet another
pathway. Yes, that is what I was going to start with. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Hina. DTM Talha, yes, yet another pathway. And I was just wondering, you are always asking me not to mention TCF in my every speech, and yet somehow you have you can say the luxury of mentioning Wordwise and all the other clubs and Toastmasters in every speech. So take note.
God.
This brings us to an end to the evaluation segment of the prepared speech segment. Kindly vote when the form is sent to you in the chat or in the WhatsApp group.
Okay, let me just ask Toastmaster Hina, could you see the timing?
I could see the timing and I realized I took too long. I know I did.
All right. So unfortunately, yes.
No, that's okay. I needed to get that feedback through. I should have done it sooner. I should know better.
But I think what you delivered was far more valuable than you qualifying or not qualifying. So thank you so much for that.
Okay, so the board counter will be floating a poll for each one of you for the best evaluator. And till then, we move on to the table topics evaluation, which will be done by Toastmaster Imran Rana. It's okay if you have forgotten.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Rabia. I was sitting there and I just forgot that I have to evaluate the table topic session as well. Okay, before evaluating the table topic speakers, I would like to specifically evaluate the table topic master, since it was the project of active listening. So about your active listening, I must say you fulfill today's word was emphatic. So you were throughout your session, you were quite emphatic. You told us about the session, how the session could be conducted, and you told us about the timing as well. But here I would specifically talk about evaluate about how actively you listen all the speeches. The first speaker was Toastmaster Zara, since she's your wife and you should have to listen that. That's the responsibility of the husband, right? So when you did not respond, I thought you just forgot. Then you came back and you told exactly what she said about how to control the expenditure. You took some nitpicks and you described the speech, how actively you listened. So I can assure you, Toastmaster Zara is a good listener. Not at home. Then we had, okay, so the second speaker was Toastmaster Nguyen. And okay, this goes for the all speeches that you actively listen all the speakers and took some of the points and you explained it in your own way. That shows that you are a good speaker, since to be a good speaker, you need to be a good listener. So congratulations on that, conducting a means well related to theme. Quite amazing table topic session you conducted. And let me go quickly with the table topic speakers. Our first speaker was Toastmaster Zahra. Toastmaster Zahra, what I love about your speech was you were confident, you started with salutation. I always found humor in your speech, the way you explain right is not on the right. And you told us about the solution that how can you handle all your expenses. So your speech was in perfect chronological order with good opening, body and conclusion. Hats off on that. Maybe you could have used some of the stage since you were standing at one position. Then we had guest Luan. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, and hats off to her. What's the time to guest Luan? Okay, you started with salutation. That's wonderful because most of the speakers don't start with salutation. Throughout your speech, you had a very beautiful smile, and that captivated us. The best thing about your speech was the sincerity and what do we call it? Quite a polite speech that you honestly told us that about your fear of public speaking. Maybe table topics is all about using your mind, means presence of mind. The topic was invest in the career. You could have used your participation in the meeting that it is the investment that you are putting in. So you could have used that. Overall, you have a good confidence, you have a good command over language, and I must say that you are a good speaker. So please keep joining our meeting. Then we had DTM Sarfraz Nazir. DTM Sarfraz Nazir, you spoke quite well. I won't say about the content because Toastmaster Latif had explained your content quite well. But today you remind us one of the distinguished Toastmaster from leaders worldwide. Can anyone guess? No? DTM Cynthia. Yes, she was so close to the camera. Your facial expressions were great. Maybe you could have sit a little far from the camera so that you could use your hand gestures. So about the facial expressions, you nailed it today. Let me request DTM Talha to please share the video with DTM Cynthia so that she can learn from you. So overall, it was quite amazing. And lastly, we had Atif Sattar. Atif Sattar sahab, when you started, you were quite enthusiastic, you were quite energetic, and you spoke quite well. You spoke to the topic, and it was quite fast. That's why you were unable to complete your speech within a minute. Then DTM Talha reminded you, and you concluded your speech with a wonderful message that to control the inflation, you need to cut down your expenditure. So that was quite good. Keep on coming. Maybe with the prepared speech, there will be enough time for you to express yourself in front of the audience. So overall, it was quite an amazing session. All the speakers were up to the mark, and hats off to all the speakers and the table topic master. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Imran Rana. And as I have seen the speaking area of DTM Sarfaraz, I don't think he can move back any further. Okay, so keeping that we are way over and behind time, and I would like now to call the facilitators and please give your reports really quickly. The grammarian Toastmaster Fahim Razak.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, and good evening once again, ladies and gentlemen. They say pictures speak 1,000 words, but in a Toastmaster speech where you have to just speak only for 5 to 7 minutes and still relate your message, The key phrase is that the speaker do it themselves, write it themselves. I think can speak just as many words. I'll give the examples here. What I didn't know then, but do know now. Undefinable ease to your speaking style. Now, if it was me, I would probably have used up 3 to 4 sentences just to say this message. Undefinable ease to your speaking style. I would have said, oh, when you come here, you're so relaxed. Effortlessly you speak, you use. So I've already consumed 4 sentences and probably about 30 seconds of the time. Whereas with this phrase, you're giving the same message, in fact, probably even more so with just 1 sentence. So that's where the phrases comes in, where speakers write it themselves, not copying it, writing it themselves. I am somewhat of social animal, but I also like my individuality. Where life-changing transaction occurs. Paradoxically, the temperature rises. Elephant in the room. Your stage movement was left much to be desired. What a statement that is, right? What we say, what I basically say, oh, you didn't use this side of the stage, this side of the stage, you didn't move, or you had the whole room to utilize. But with this phrase, you are delivering all those messages in just 1 sentence. Very well done. Talking about myself has not been my cup of tea. My life has, by and large, been defined by challenges. I turned my deaf ear to their advice. Easily offendable for the right wings. I have been pulled back into a game. Someone else driving your car. You are a speaker extraordinaire. What a statement as well, that one.
Ordinaire.
Yeah. Some improvements here. I think with we can move on. I will try to be as empathetic on this one as possible. I did many research. Perhaps it could have been, I did a lot of research. Please ignore my mistake. It should be, please excuse or forgive my mistake. I have the authorship of 3 books. I think it should have been either I have written 3 books or I'm the author of 3 books. To my foes, that should have been pronounced as foes. All the responsibility of chores. I actually did that last couple of weeks ago, and DTM Tala, you picked it up. All the responsibility of chores, that's not the right pronunciation. It should have been chores, household chores. Today, I don't feel good. Should be today, I do not feel good. With that, over to you, Madam Journal.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Fahim Razak. A lot to learn from, always from the grammarian report. Next, I would like to call DTM Sarfaraz for the app counter report so that Toastmaster Faizan can give both the facilitation reports together.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and distinguished guests. I'm pleased to announce that TCF was mentioned only once. Unfortunately, Leaders Worldwide was mentioned 3 times. Now, when someone used too many R's, I did not stop counting, but if you went over 5, I'm simply going to say at least 5 and not give the exact number. Starting off with DTM Talha bin Hamid. 5 R's, almost 5 so's, or at least 5 so's. 1 repeat, it is, and a few ands that join the sentences. Alvin Faraz, 1 so. Toastmaster Latif, 2 R's, at least 5 so's, and 1 okay so. Irfan Faruqi, 2 R's, 2 so's, and several repeats. For example, Toastmaster, whatever, communication, should have. Rabia Zishan, 2 R's, 2 so's, and some repeats like car, I. And 1 was I and left I hanging and changed the sentence after that. Another time it was okay and left the okay also hanging. Okay was not okay. Zahra Latif, 1 R. Then Qadir Ansari, at least 5 R's, 3 so's, and some repeats like he has and he hasn't, and Nafal Sajad, at least 5 R's, 1 1 so, and some repeats like second, and several times. Salman Ijaz, 1 1 and several repeats like it is, Lom, at least 5 okay, so, and some and. Faizan Zafar, at least 5 hours, 1 at least 5 so's, and some repeats like we are. TM Asghar, Ramzan, 4 hours, 1 so, and several repeats. Mir Shahroz, 2 hours. Atif Sattar, 5 hours, 1 and some repeats like the. Imran Rana, at least 5 hours, 3 so's, and some repeats like you, this. Fahim Razak, 1 repeat. Anum Qadri, 1 hour, 3 and 1 the long pause. Raju, some repeats and that. Hina Ali, at least 5 hours and at least 5 2 so's, some repeats like just, only way up. That's my report. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator, Toastmaster Rabia Zishan.
Thank you so much, DTM Sarfaraz. I chose the wrong day to give a speech and be the general evaluator. When DTM Sarfaraz was the one counting the hours, you made us feel really miserable, and that was job well done. Next, I would like to call Toastmaster Faizan Zafar to give his report on as a word master plus as a listener as well.
Our report was like Express or Bennett. They use the pattern, right? It felt like
Is Toastmaster Faizan there?
Yeah, he's there.
Okay. I thought I was hearing him, but it turned out to be Toastmaster Imran Rana. You people forget that Beach Luxury is unmuted and you keep on talking.
He speaks too much, actually.
This word is emphatic, and the main is the responsibility of word master is to take word you want other member to learn, increase their vocabulary as well as use it during the meeting. The meaning of this word of master. And the also going on emphatic pronouncing. Meaning of the word is showing the ability to understand and share feeling of another, and synonyms like sympathetic, empathy, gentle, affection, loving. This is the history of which is a Greek word from am and feeling, and in 12th century this word used as a empathy. And another explanation, you are feeling about empathy. We can tell about how your people feel. They want to see more of it from their leaders. In recent studies, almost 50% of the respondents rated empathic approach to world load balancing a top factor in how favorably they view the organization during the pandemic. This lets elevate your sensitive side with the help of research expert and even a report. And example something empathic to the word, how to use in a word sentence. Sorry, empathic towards somebody, something, his personal history makes him especially empathic to workers, need for wage, and medical professionals require doctors to both clinically competent, empathic toward their patients. And second one is a listener who said, my dream completed.
Salman, yes.
Kati answer. Early cold night.
Kadir Ansari.
Right. Not familiar with me. You are better than no.
Asghar Ramzan.
Yeah.
And don't get topic.
That was Luen, Toastmaster Luen, right?
You saw path.
Come again.
You saw path.
Hina or Talha bin Hamid.
Sorry. And Attack fifth.
And that is DTM servers.
Myself defensive.
Adil and Sani.
Toastmasters as well.
Informal gesture.
That is Toastmaster Latif.
Yes. Work on hand gesture.
Everyone.
Make eye contact.
Latif, no.
Okay.
Raghu. DTM Raghu.
Decision has arrived.
TTM Tala.
No, Toastmaster Hill. Yeah.
Oh.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Faizan.
That's good.
So, am I allowed to speak or does the
Yeah.
let you want to?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. I think we are done with the facilitator's role, except for DTM Thala, who is the word counter and the timer as well. So
Yeah.
DTM Thala, it's up to you, which. If you
So
want to
yeah,
report.
the only timing report is that it's 9:51 and it's a complete mystery how that 9:51, despite us missing a speech. So we had only 10 speeches today. So perhaps, but let me remind everyone that we started late. We started at 9:45. In that respect, we are not too behind, like we are at most 10 minutes behind. Almost everyone adhered to their suggested timelines, except for famously Toastmaster Hina, who went over time. And yeah, I think the facilitator reports, the evaluations were all within time. So I think it was the shift in agenda sometimes, and sometimes disconnection that actually caused more delays. So yeah, over to you.
Thank you so much. And sometimes it is the long report of the timer, which takes more time. Sorry, just kidding. Okay, so the time comes for my journal evaluation, and I'll take the least possible time. It was an absolutely wonderful meeting, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I missed a few parts because of internet connectivity, and I joined a little late as well. And I did write some point, but I think I have told those points in between when I was following the facilitators and evaluators. Yes, one thing, the theme of the meeting, inflation. So I really took the meeting seriously and avoided coming to Beach Luxury today and saving a lot of money. So back to you, Toastmaster of the day or DTM Talha.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And it's a tragedy that Toastmaster Alvin suffered disconnection problems. But I'm floating the poll for best Big Four, everyone. Please vote. And please vote for best, consider Toastmaster Alvin's spell to the extent that he was here. Don't take into account his disconnection, because that is something that he could not help. So I'm floating the poll for best Big Four. And quickly, if we can have some comments from our guest of honor, Toastmaster Irfan Farooqi.
It is always a pleasure to be with you, physically or virtually. And Talha is regularly calling me guest, because I think he has certain agenda on the back of his mind. But I will remain guest.
Thank you so much. What we have done for Toastmasters and what you're doing for Toastmasters easily can preclude you from getting membership. And we can consider you not a guest, but an honorary
member.
Yeah. So most of the, I
Maybe
think
after-
we have the executive committee sitting here, so we can approve that.
You know what?
So-
We made DTM Surprise an honorary member, and next day he failed.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. So without further ado, let's announce the results for today. First of all,
DTM Tala, I would
Yes.
really ask you if our guest online, Luim, is here with us.
Oh,
right
yeah.
now.
Oh,
If you
yeah.
could, yeah.
yeah, yes, yeah, Toastmaster Loin. Now I'll call everyone a Toastmaster.
No pressure.
Are you there? If you can share your thoughts about the meeting. I know it's quite late, but if you are there. Oh yeah, she's there. Wow. Amazing.
I'm so happy and enjoy myself so much to be part of you. And I hope I will do better next time. Okay,
You did
so
wonderfully. You did wonderfully.
I'm sorry, I'm so sleepy.
No, no worries
thank
at all. It is so kind of you to come online
So,
and give your comments
okay,
and to be
so
sticking with
thank
us.
you.
So, yeah, thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
And looking forward to seeing you again. And trust me, you can leave anytime. You don't have to.
Yes, yes, you can go to sleep,
Okay,
please.
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
bye.
So with that, we are coming to the results. Best prepared speaker today. Oh my God, it's a three-way tie again. And no, I'm not breaking it because I am also one of the winners. So no, I'm not breaking the tie. So, like it's a lose-lose situation no matter which way I break it. So I won't break it. So it's between myself, Toastmaster Nofal Sajjad, and Toastmaster Rabia Zishan. So congratulations. And best table topic speaker today goes to DTM Sarfaraz. Congratulations. Best evaluation once again is a two-way tie between DTM Raghu and Toastmaster Latif. Congratulations once again. And the reason we are not breaking these ties is because there were 10 speeches, 10 evaluations, so the number is high enough. As for the best facilitator, it goes to our Gremlinian Toastmaster Payment Clark. And for the best big four, the vote goes to. Okay, shall we extend the voting for another 5 hours or so? No. It goes to Table Topics Master Toastmaster Latif Mansoor. Congratulations. And one last award remaining, and that is the Critics' Choice Award. The Critics' Choice Award is a critical or rather qualitative evaluation of speeches under the International Speech Contest ballot, and someone has very kindly evaluated all 10 speeches. So third place goes to Toastmaster Mir Shahroz. Congratulations. Second place goes to Toastmaster Latif Mansoor Ali. And first place sadly goes to me. So thank you so much, and we will see you in the next meeting, which is like 1 hour away now. So